Hello and welcome to Horsham.tv. This week it's about space. It's about having space to do something that you want to enjoy, and also it's about our health and our mental health space. So here's what's coming up next. Hello Holly, I'm very intrigued because you are a hypnotherapist, is that right? Is that the right term for a start?
Yeah, to be specific, I'm solution-focused hypnotherapist, which makes me slightly different, but you'll find if you did homework there's an awful lot of hypnotherapists with different backgrounds and different schools of training, so solution-focused is what distinguishes me.
Okay, so from my point of view, when you hear the word hypnotherapy, two things spring to mind for me. One is stage show hypnotherapy.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
people that stand up and they start acting out in a weird way.
Yeah.
And then somebody like Darren Brown, for example, who makes you just go to sleep just by looking at you.
Yeah.
Is that hypnotherapy? Is that just showmanship? What are we looking at?
Combination, all of the above.
Okay.
I mean, Darren Brown's one of my favourites, so you've hit a really good one.
Okay.
And he's also a psychotherapist and he's genius.
He's very talented.
He's a really clever man, but he uses the same knowledge that we have.
Okay.
And as he would say, none of us, not even himself, can make someone do something they don't want to do. Our subconscious prevents us from doing that. So everything that we're doing is just enabling an individual to make the changes they want to make. And obviously as a therapist, I want to help them towards their future. Stage hypnotists are doing it for entertainment purposes.
So this is interesting because with your line of hypnotherapy then, I'm guessing this is more that you drill down into something that people want to, do they want to change? Do they want to make better? What do people come to you for?
I have a specialist area in helping people with relationships with food, and that's something that's evolved over the many years, but I can help people who feel stuck. You know, all of us really know where we want to be and how we want to make changes, but we can sometimes find that we just can't make them happen.
Go for it.
But our brains operate in specific ways, and we've got two key areas. We've got the part that is our conscious, rational part, the part we're using to talk to each other today and understand each other, hopefully. And then we've got another part of our brain which is responsible for our survival and the continuation of the human species. And actually all mammals have got this part. And the two often can become quite conflicted because of the way that we currently live, our cultural expectations and our everyday thinking want certain things, but that this other part actually still thinks that we live a very primitive existence. So there's a huge conflict that goes on between this problem solving part of the brain stepping in to help us with whatever our perceived problem is versus actually what we want to do. So my job is to help marry the two together by calming that primitive response so that actually the individual can actually do what it is they want to do.
Wow, and is that generally, you're saying with food, so some people come to you, they're quite bad relationships with food, is that where it comes to? Okay, and it's getting a better understanding of where they are as well and what they'd like to get to.
And I think if you ask most people, they would know what they should be doing for a healthy lifestyle.
Sure.
But why can't they do it? Well, because the brain kind of gets a bit confused, and certainly where food is concerned, there's lots of learned behaviours that we've picked up through our childhood. There are inbuilt survival instincts in there as well that kick in. So when we're looking at relationships with food, there's far more than just what we're eating and how we're eating and where we're choosing to eat. So hypnosis allows us to access that really natural mindset that enables my clients to solve their own problems, but also to shut down sometimes the negative voice that is preventing them from moving forward.
That's amazing.
Does that make sense?
No, it does, and I think it makes it a lot more of a tangible understanding of what hypnosis is as well, because instead of this kind of, you can go make somebody quack like a duck, or you can go and do this and the other, but actual change behaviours, and like you say, if you're actually drilling down into what's in the back of your mind or bring the two together, that's really interesting. And are there any sort of untruths that you can burst here? Is there anything that you kind of come across every now and then, you think people come in and expect you to be like, or you've got your swinging pocket watches, any of that kind of stuff?
So disappointing, isn't it?
No, it's good though. I think dispelling the untruths sometimes is quite handy.
I think people fear it because they think I can make them do things they don't want to do. can't. Nobody can, as I intimated earlier. But also it's recognising that as a hypnotherapist, yeah, you know, I want to help people. I want to help people and I want to make that difference. And we're just working with what we've got, what's natural to us. But no, none of us can make anyone do anything they don't want to do. Unfortunately, there's no pocket watches. It's just focused attention, creating a safe environment for my clients, keeping everything really familiar, really samey. Yeah. Because actually the one thing that our brains don't like is change. Yeah. So if everything's familiar, then I can really help my client in achieving whatever those goals are that they want to seek, whether it be stop smoking, relationships with food, you know, you name it. A problem is only a problem if it's a problem for an individual.
That seems like a perfect time to finish. Thank you so much for coming in. We'll put all the details up as we've been talking as well, so all your contacts will be there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So I found that chat with Holly absolutely fascinating and had no idea the blocks that we put up in our own minds really that could be undone by something such as hypnosis. And I think it's a fascinating insight into how we can be. Now our next guest is a chap called Alan, and he's from Second Thought. They are about undoing the blocks we put up and how we create a script for our lives, as it were. Now it's a fascinating chat. He's got a lot to say. He's a really interesting bloke, so I hope you enjoyed this next segment. So I am with Alan from Second Thought today. Hello Alan, thank you very much for coming into the studio.
It's my pleasure.
Good, it was good to be out and about, isn't it? See different people.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, see different faces.
I thought I was the only one on the planet left alive at times.
No, we're all here now. We're all starting to come back out of our shells a little bit now. We're all there. So Alan, you're from Second Thought. Tell me a little bit, what is Second Thought?
Second Thought is a mental health wellbeing workshop.
Okay.
Its aim is to set people free and to remove blocks that limit their lives.
Okay.
It's been targeted both as a business model. So for example, if you've got a staff team, mental health affects attendance, motivation, the buy-in to the company. Yeah. So if you can bring a team together, set a positive ethos, you then help to improve the productivity of the company, the attendance, the buy-in, and you improve the profit of the company, while you're helping individuals' well-being,
and
who then go out to their families and help their families.
That's win-win, really.
Yeah, yes, that's the point. And then we also aim to do it for individuals as groups, either in a workshop, even in workshop setting, or over Zoom.
Okay.
I think the idea is that we're not going to say we're going to be here or there. We're trying to be as flexible as we can, so that we meet the needs of what people want.
And what sort of thing do you think people will be needing then? What sort of advice?
Well, it's not really about advice. It's about changing blocks and belief systems.
Okay. And is this about kind of reimagining that life script then? It's giving people those opportunities, that way of working that would remove those blocks.
Because I would say for people like me that have got mental health difficulties that have gone all their life, that come at you in the form of anxiety, depression. I mean, I suffered from alcoholism for a while, for a period of my life. I've been in recovery for about 30 years, but it takes you down it takes you down that hole, like that little door you've got over on the skirting. Sorry, they can't see that.
Got a little door that's hiding on skirting in here.
But you go down a rabbit hole. Yeah. And the insanity of it is you keep going down the rabbit hole.
Because you keep believing it.
Yeah, but you keep, all you've got is a belief system. It's like your computer is loaded, so whatever happens, you think you're not good enough, you're going to fail. So the aim of this is to remove the blocks that do that, and to basically get people to rewrite their own life scripts, so that people can actually be who they want to be, and live the lives they want to live, not blocked by I can't, you can't, this is wrong, you're too fat, you're too short. Shouldn't be like that. You know, we're all loving human beings, and if you can set people free to be who they're meant to be, my personal view is you can live a much more contented, joyous life.
Absolutely.
and make connections with people.
Yeah.
And life is about connections to a great extent.
I love the passion that you have here as well. That you're very rooted in this, and you've got a belief in that everybody can do this and be part of it.
This saved my life.
It's fantastic. And for anybody who's interested and wants to learn a bit more, we'll stick up. We've got a website address.
Yes.
And Facebook and what have you. So we'll stick all the details and bits and pieces up there as well. And if people want to reach out, they can, can't they?
They certainly can, and they can contact us through the website, and we'll be free. I'd be pleased to talk to anybody, even if it doesn't lead to us running a workshop.
Yeah.
If you can support people and help mental health, then you're doing a good thing.
Thank you so much for
thank
coming in. Really
thank you for letting us come and talk to you.
If I could, I'd shake your hand. It's such a
shame.
shame.
We can do that.
There we go. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very much indeed.
So this week we've been talking about mental health and giving yourself a little bit of space. Now, space can be in your home, but it can also be outside of the home, especially as we're all now allowed to go out and about. We went along to see Peter at the Horsham's Makerspace, which is an interesting idea that's been set up locally, and we found it fascinating what he can do and what you can do as well. So here we are today in the beautiful surroundings of the Horsham Makerspace. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Lisa.
I love this. I said when I came through the door, I was expecting there to be sawdust on the floor and wood shavings and fruits, and it's lovely. It's very nice, very clean. I approve. So tell me a bit about Makerspace. What is it and where are we?
So we are in Blatchford Close, which is a small industrial estate in Horsham. So a makerspace is a space for creative people, whether they be carpenters, or we had a lady who did glass work, or musicians. We've got a small studio in the back, to come and have access to tools and materials and covered space,
yes,
which is something that a lot of us don't have. And so this is just a space for people to come and do that sort of thing in here. We've got access to all kinds of tools and materials, collective buying power for bigger tools.
I was going to say, because you're not going to be able to house half of this stuff in your own house, even if you had a shed at the end of the garden. I mean, I've seen some of the size of the things they've got in the background as well. There's no way you've got laser cutters going into a shed at the bottom of a garden, have you? So no. It's really interesting. So you say collective buying power. Does that mean people pay to take part in this and use the space?
So there's two different streams of access here, or three. There's hobbyist makers who pay £30 a month, kind of gym kind of style amount of money. And like a gym, you come and get an induction, learn how to use the tool safely, and then you come and go as you please, do your own thing. Then we've got commercial makers who come and they rent the space for the day and they do their work in here, building furniture or whatever it is they do.
Oh, wow.
And then we run classes, so you don't have to remember to come and take a class. You can come and learn how to use the laser cutter and just have an experience playing with that. We've just booked our first workshop experience day, where a friend of ours is coming to just spend his birthday afternoon playing in the workshop. That's
such a good idea, because men, I'm going to be a bit general here, but most men are quite hard to buy for. Just talk over that very loud motorbike over there. A workshop day, why not? Let them just go and play with all the tools, and then, like I say, I'm guessing we don't have to do the clear up, do we?
You have to do a little bit of clearing
up. So that's fantastic. So you've got lots of different strands there. And so for anybody, it's basically, you can just come in and have a bit of a taster for it, can't you? So if you are a hobbyist and you want to give it a go, but if you are somebody who knows a little bit more about things as well, is it quite a nice space to work with people? Is it a social space?
Yeah, generally. So we've had 2 or 3 people in at a time when we were allowed to have hobbyists in. Yeah. Obviously, at the moment, we haven't been able to do that.
Sure.
But we've had, kind of different people pick a workbench, stick their music in, chat. We're hoping to be able to do more collaborative stuff as we open back up and really build a community here. So it's a community workshop for the makers of Horsham. We want it to really be that community feel, collaboration, learning from each other, all that kind of thing.
That's so cool, because this particular episode we've been talking about sort of mental health awareness and being kind to yourself, giving yourself space and freedom and what have you. And this sounds like this might suit a lot of people for that reason as well, being able to meet new people, going out into a different space, but also being able to be creative. It's sort of meeting all the requirements, isn't it?
Absolutely, and one of the other initiatives in Horsham that's a makerspace is the Men in Sheds, which started off as a men's mental health initiative for older men who'd retired and wanted to keep doing things with their hands. So this is in a similar vein of kind of being good for you and community, but it's a much broader scope.
Sure.
So it's the name, a makerspace rather than a Men in Sheds. If you're a young lady, for example, wanting to come and...
You're not going to want to come in, are you? No.
So they're great for what they do,
yeah,
and we're trying to be something that is on a parallel path but a little bit different.
And also because, like you're saying, your offer is quite big, because yes, it's the building and the making things physically, like you've got a welding bit around the corner, haven't you?
We've got a welding bay, metal shop. We've just lined up a local young lady who's a welder, who's a welding ambassador for Lincoln Electric, who
Brilliant.
is hopefully going to be coming and running our introduction to welding course.
Fantastic.
We've got our laser cutter around the corner,
Yeah.
big 80 watt CO2 Boxford laser that we bought with one of our lockdown grants.
Fantastic.
So rather than just spend it on plywood, we thought let's invest it and
Buy a laser cutter, why
buy a
not?
laser cutter. We've got the music studio in the back. We're about to get a 3D printer. We've got our CNC router that's half built in the other room.
It's fantastic. There's just so much, isn't there? So look forward to it. And I bet you're really looking forward to having people back in again.
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Peter. I love it, and I'm genuinely quite keen to run around and look at all of the bits and pieces, although I'm probably not safe to do so without my induction. Anyway, I'll have a little look without touching anything, I absolutely promise. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for coming.
I hope this episode has given you plenty of food for thought, be it hypnosis, be it thinking about what's about your mental health, and also whether you fancy just getting out in your own shed and making a few bits and pieces. Who knows? If you've got any ideas about what you'd like to see on any upcoming episodes, do feel free to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.